Iroquois. Okay, what a pick. India, definitely a top-tier civilization. On a low hunt map, I would say. Certainly very good. Certainly on Mongolia, they're top tier. But still quite good overall, at least in Goodspeed's opinion, and I think Goodspeed's opinion is quite an accurate opinion. Anyway, undisputably, Iroquois, the best civilization in Age of Empires 3 on this particular patch. What do you think of this matchup, Zuza?
They are the best civ on this particular patch, but that being said, this is a really good map for India because they can put down the aggro fort in basically the choke that will wall off the entire map and can buy themselves a lot of time that a lot of maps and civs can't buy them against Euro. So there is a little bit of a distinct advantage that India has. I don't know that it's necessarily enough of an advantage to say that it's an even matchup. I think Euro can still just kind of contain and wait for their resources to run out, go to age 3, and eventually just win in age 3 with like a bigger, huge mass and just kind of wait for India to run out of resources. But I think at least the map plays to maybe a slight India advantage in the early game, especially, just buys them a little bit more time.
Yeah, definitely a good map for India. The choke on this map is great for them.
Yeah, we see Garja taking that into consideration.
But, you know, I think he's within his right to still change if he really wants to. He hasn't greened up yet. Yeah, pretty interesting matchup here. He does choose to go with that. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Saturday Smackdown for the week 11th of October 2014. This is game number 5, I believe, in this best of 7 series between Garja and MusketJr. This is the first game that I have casted with you, Zuta, where Aztec has not been selected for this map. That is true. What is the score right now, Zuta?
It's 3-1. This is actually a decider for MusketJr. If
MusketJr.
He wins the series 4-1. So
yeah, 3 games up, the blue player. Here he is in the north of the map, or the east of the map, sort of northeast, I suppose. Here he is playing as the Indians right now. Pretty good civ. Wait, this is not Patagonia. Okay, you meant the. Okay, never mind. Still a choke on New England. What was I talking? I thought we were talking about Patagonia for a reason.
Okay. I must have just misspoke.
Anyway, still in the south of the map, in the color red. We have indeed Garja playing as the Iroquois. Both civilizations are very strong, and this is, you know, I mean, I guess Garja is, if he loses one more game, he is out, and is perhaps now resorting to the stronger civilizations to stay in the game. It's possible, but then again, maybe he just thought that this was an excellent choice in response to his opponent on this particular map. The map is, of course, New England. What do you think, Zuta?
I don't know. I think we kind of covered the map in the early game. I think this map is going to be pretty good for India. He can put down his aggro fort. It's actually the trees. Ideally, you would like to have a situation where you could put it like the fort right here, and then have trees kind of like split. You see how the trees are like more in the center and less on the side. Ideally, you'd like to put it right there so you could like completely block that choke. He is going to have to put it either here, which is slightly more out front, or else he's going to have to put it back here, which secures a little less of the map. He's not going to be able to secure that hunt.
What about this location? I guess it's a bit too close to the coast, and it's kind of awkward there as well, since your opponent's going to be... Yeah, well, maybe even if it did fit, your opponent's going to walk past the pond on the other side and completely negate it, so perhaps that's not a good position. But certainly there...
forward here now, and we'll see in a second where he's going to put it. My guess is going to be it's just going to be right up here.
Yeah. But MusketJr. picking up 2 90 food treasures. I did not see him do so, but having looked at the history there, wow, he is, considering, you know, playing as India, going to be going up very, very quickly indeed. Is this a 10-10? No, there's a house going down right now. Oh, he is aging, though.
Yeah,
it's a 10-10. Sped up by 2 90 food treasures. What does that implicate here? What is implicate? Is that the correct? Anyway, tell us about that.
It's going to mean that it makes him even safer in the early game. I mean, certainly 10-10ing is a good way to buy yourself some time here.
It's going to be so much quicker, though. Wow.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really quick. And we'll have to see what Garja does as a response. That's what I'm more curious about is, I mean, he does have this trading post that he'd ideally like to defend out in the front of his base. We can already see that he's committed to at least a 15 pop Egypt by the looks of it, which is going to slow him down ever so slightly. Is going to mean that he's likely not going to have to idle as much. But because Musket is able to get up so quickly, and it has this Vil active out on the map, we can see he's walling up, and it's gonna make things a little bit trickier for Garja in the early game. I'm curious to see whether or not he ages faster. He's going to try something different with Wise Woman. He's going to try something different, and I'm actually glad to see that because I think trying to force your way in here against this Agrifort and these walls would not really be that good. So I'm actually kind of happy to see, but at the same time, the trading post for him is going to be a little bit more exposed. He's going to have to worry about defending that. Especially against those early Sepoy that are going to come out.
A second trading post now going down, Zuta. He, you know, as you say, there's all of these walls, and the Agrifort means that it's going to be a lot harder to get in. And I think MusketJr. here gearing up towards that very aggressive Iroquois style where they start with 4 Kanyas and sort of rush in and follow up with lots of military units. But actually, did you notice that Gaia managed to find, I believe, a 95 wood treasure and a 60 wood treasure? Certainly a lot more wood in the early game. I love New England for the amount of like medium-sized treasures that are quite easy to pick up on this map. All of that wood, I think, has made this second trading post a lot easier to get. And, you know, he's trying something different with the Wise Woman. Certainly, Iroquois can do other things. The Wise Woman going to grant some extra resources, much in the same way as a 400 wood politician or 500 food wood is going to do something with those, going to play perhaps more boomy. I think Iroquois definitely can still do that. And the wood definitely makes this very appropriate. It makes perhaps a better decision to do that. And you know, you can't get in against India quite as easily. I really like what Guy is doing. It's going to reiterate what you were saying.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, I think it's going to be fine. I think he's probably going to be able to keep up both of the trading posts. We can see that he's kind of buying a little bit of time over here, making the Sepoy come up here on the left side, being annoying with this Black Bear and his Explorer as well. So buying himself a little bit of time in that regard. And I think that's going to allow him time to get up. Going to allow him to get his war hut established and get out enough units that he can potentially defend this.
Oh wow! Post. Is he going to lose his Explorer? He really does not want to do that. Of course, the monk's going to slow him down. That snaring effect, and he does have those 2 Sepoy here. I don't think it will actually be enough. That Explorer has so many hit points, like 750 hit points in total. Only 300 left, but yeah, I think he'll be.
He's fine. He's going to stroll on either. A couple Tomahawks out now as well. And
trading post going down there.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what's going to happen here because both sides have kind of done something a little different. I mean, we see Musket now gearing up for getting his market upgrades. Going to want to transition into something probably more Gurkha oriented, and now that he's realized that.
Elephant going down.
Is down, and I think this trading post. I mean, he's going to get like 1 drop of XP from it, and then it's probably going to get sieged down.
Yeah. I'm
curious to see where Garja goes from here. It looks like he has aging on his mind.
I did think with this defensive style that a trading post was rather interesting there because you know, traditionally you wouldn't be able to keep it up. It's certainly these Tomahawks going to push it down. But considering, you know, the Iroquois player going quite a lot slower, he's aged up a lot slower considering his choice of age up politician. Perhaps India thinks he will be able to keep his trading post up here. But ultimately, those first batch of 5 Tomahawks are, you know, going to take that down.
Yeah, greedy. To be honest, a bit greedy to think he could have that trading post. He's going to get a 2nd drop of XP from it, which is fairly significant to note because that effectively doubles the effectiveness of the 200 wood that he did put into this trading post.
It's still only like 80 XP and or maybe 90 or 100 XP. He spent 200 wood on 100 XP.
Yeah, it's really not that good. But at the end of the day, I think he'll be okay in terms of what he's got. He is gearing up for some market upgrades and stuff like that. Does have pretty good upgrades already, up to Imperial Bureaucracy at 6 minutes, so certainly has some pretty nice upgrades. And it looks like we're just going to see some sort of boomy French play, or boomy India play with the French consulate.
Researching coin crates. Tell us about the French consulate for those who aren't familiar with India.
So for those who aren't aware of what the French consulate can do, basically you can pay export and get a crate of 500 resources. And I'm curious as to whether or not he's going to use this 500 gold to actually age up. There is the potential that he could just use that to try and make his way up to the 3rd age as well.
Pretty interesting build there as well.
Yeah, it's a bit creative. Yeah, it looks like
ending his relations.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be the 500 coin crate that he's going to use to age up, which is a curious way to do it. Usually, I think the Ottoman consulate's a bit more standard. You get the 4 vills. The 4 vills obviously have a little bit more lasting effect as the game progresses, but the immediateness of the 500 coin from the French consulate is going to allow him to age up. Now, Garja, on the other hand, has aged himself, has aged with a very fast-aging politician. And, and so it's...
Wow. This is like a semi-FF, 3 vills, 5 vills, but he's up in the same time as you would normally be for a fast fortress.
Yeah, so, well, I mean, that's just Euro.
Well, a bit slower.
Yeah, it's...
Like a minute slower, actually. It's actually not like a fast fortress.
It's not a fast fortress, but at the same time, he's got, like, 3 trading posts and, War Hut. What did he build with his second? Yeah, there it is, a stable over here on the left-hand side. So, like, most of the time, like, part of the issue that a lot of civs have when they fast fortress or semi-fast fortress is they can have a hard time establishing structure, just because you have to like ship 700 wood or something like that to establish your stable and your barracks and like do all of that stuff at once. But because Eero gets the travois, they really they have that kind of nice little advantage that establishing their structure really isn't that difficult, because they get a war hunt with their first travois and a stable with their second one, assuming their opponent isn't pressuring them and forcing that travois to be built in an awkward spot or something. But not going to be the case. Here, as we see, Musket is aging up himself with the wonder that is going to give him the elephant. So.
What 2 elephants, isn't
it? No, just a single elephant.
Just a single elephant.
To the third age, the Charminar Gate.
Oh, of course, yes. But he does choose to put the Ottoman consulate in now. He's burnt his relations and gone with them. So he's indeed going to get those 4 vills out, fairly soon. He does have a 300 export that he sent as a shipment, so he's certainly got more export than he would normally have. And 500 coin to help him get up to the fortress age quickly. Then going to follow up with the 4 vills a bit later on. I do quite like this. He has got a fairly sizable amount of Gurkhas in the back, and of course has now just hit up with his disciplined Malhal. Looks like we're going to have an engagement here. The cavalry. This
is going to be scary, though.
Popping out the anti-cavalry Minutemen, going to go into combat with the elite Kanyas here. I don't think at first I thought the Kanyas were going to absolutely tear through those Gurkhas, but I don't think that will be the case.
Yeah, pretty good control of the anti-cav here by Musket so far. Another big batch of Kanyas coming in.
Oh, Kanyas from the other side. Wow, I didn't even see them.
Yeah, they just
okay.
I think we kind of just forgot about the front side of the map because of how much...
all of the walling there. It's like, oh yeah, nothing will get through there.
But there is actually a hole, and they did just kind of stroll right on through. Musket doing an okay job of holding this, though, so far. He just kind of needs to survive here. I don't know that he's really necessarily, survived just yet, but...
no. The 4 cav coming. Oh, what do we see? Okay, some Zambaraks popping up. Of course, very good at counting cavalry, very efficient anti-cavalry here, and that means that those skirmishers, the Gurkha that are there, are not going to get knocked over. He's going to be able to keep those, and actually here, I don't think Gaia thinks he can continue to push in. You can see there. I mean, what he could do is use the forest prowls to perhaps snipe some villages, but ultimately, just want to stay too close to a town to shoot.
Musket has just realized the same thing I have. He has no second gold. Well, his second gold mine is effectively right where Garja is attempting to push in. I was going to make a statement about the fact that, because the front of his base is still fairly well defended, Garja does have this kind of long, extended attack path that he has to attempt to go on in order to effectively apply pressure. But at the same time, that just also happens to be where Musket's second gold mine is. There is no gold mine situated in the central part of the map, meaning that if he wants to secure his next gold mine, it's going to have to be one of these 2 that are up in this north side of the map, which is going to result in him having to, probably push out of his base a bit more towards where Garja's attack path is, and that could be kind of awkward here as the game continues to progress and the forest prowler count continues to grow. I mean, that's just a scary number of skirmishers at this point.
Yeah, forest prowlers very strong actually as a skirmisher type unit. I must admit, I really do like this style of Iroquois. It's like a semi-FF style, starting economically focused with 3 vills, 5 vills. 600 gold isn't quite as good as 700 because Iroquois doesn't have that, but I guess it balances them to an extent. And following up with the efficient military shipments, and you've of course got the economy, much like in the same way that a French semi-FF works, but you just don't often see this style of Iroquois because, Iroquois is just so outrageously strong in the early portion of the game because they can age up so quickly with a free barracks. and four cavalry in a single shipment.
Yeah.
So you don't see this style very often, but I do quite like this.
One thing I'd like to point out is that Musket, because of his awkward gold mine placement, has elected just to make mahouts, which costs food and wood instead of coin. And it's actually, if he can get out enough of them, there's not really that much anti-cap for Garja. I mean, he's only got these like 8 or so musket riders out. If he could get to the point, and your army as well, it is going to come down to unit positioning. If he can get into a really good position here with these Urami and these Mahout, just because of the AOE of all the units, he's going to be able to kill this army from Garja very quickly. But I expect Garja will be able to maneuver his way around those units. Good unit control is one of the things that Garja does have, and I don't know, Musket now on a gold mine, so he's going to be able to continue to rebuild, the important units, but he is kind of losing out on this middle portion of the map, and Garja is building up a pretty scary presence here.
Yeah, he's got quite a lot of military units there stacking up. A really nice economy in the back. But honestly, what at this point in the game should he be doing? I mean, it feels as if all of these military units aren't really doing anything. They're just sitting here. And of course, idle military units that aren't fighting, aren't being useful, are essentially the same as idle resources. Does he feel as if he's waiting for perhaps the shipment is not the right time to push in just yet? I mean, if you're MusketJr, you're lacking coin. Because your second gold mine is over here. Perhaps if MusketJr goes in, if Gaia goes in, identifies maybe that there is a lack of coin. Like what can he do at this point?
I think it would have been. I mean, it's easy for us because we can see the whole map. We don't know like if this portion of the map is explicitly scouted for Garja, and if it's not, there's a fairly good chance that there's a gold mine back there. And if he doesn't have it scouted, he just assumes, well, okay, he's probably got a second gold mine back there. Like, what's the point of me standing over here on this gold mine? Now, you and I both know that had he just stood on that gold mine and massed musket riders, like he's currently doing, he probably would have just won the game because, his opponent would have been pigeonholed into making only mahouts and would have never gotten out enough gold to be able to do anything differently. We'll have to see. Ooh, the Mansabar. Is he going to die? No.
I don't know, but...
Oh, he's taking a journey. Yep, he's dead.
What are you looking at? Jeez,
the Mansabar. The Mansabar Gurkha, the guy who basically buffs up all his other Gurkha.
Oh, okay.
And is very expensive to train. Just died, so that's quite unfortunate for him.
Yeah, I don't think he likes that. But yeah, fair point though. But these units have been... not doing like I mean, I guess he is massing up, and in the same way that you just mass up when you're playing as France, I guess that is what he's doing. But yeah, scores very even at this point.
Scores are even, but Garja's army just looks so scary compared to Musket's.
Huge.
Yeah, Musket's.
Like, when is he gonna go in? As I was saying, this army is massive. When is he gonna push in?
2 more mahouts. Obviously, you don't want to just wait for forever against India. The longer you wait against India, the more powered up their army becomes. The more upgrades they get. They do have better economy and better cards the longer the game progresses. So you don't. Well, that's maybe not true. Euro's got some really damn strong cards, but essentially, the longer the game goes, I think the more things start to even out and become more in India's favor. Just because higher pop armies, strength of unit, India probably has the advantage in that way. But
I think though we are going to see an engagement here. There are quite a few disciplined Malhouts there. Can they get into combat with their skirmishes here? But the positioning there, the musket riders sort of pushed in behind these trees, but still actually going to be able to counter them there.
Yeah, the Mahouts are getting us some decent damage though here.
Oh, that area damage! Wow.
A big stomp there as well.
Look at everything's so clumped together. The area damage is absolutely wrecking face. But there are quite a lot of musket riders in the back. And
so many army though and stuff in there. I don't know. This is like it's really hard to tell. Like everything is like so jammed in there. One of the Mahouts still alive on almost half.
I can't tell who has how many units.
I guess we just have to go by the population, and population-wise, Garja is slightly ahead at this point. But it looks like the Mansabar has been remade. Still a lot of Zams left in the back as well, and looks like things. I don't know, went about even. I guess in terms of population, Garja's still up 10 population, but economy-wise, I think Musket is certainly in a point where he's stabilized here, and like we mentioned, the longer this game goes, the more gold mines he's able to secure and continue to turn his way through. I think the better India gets as this game goes.
Definitely. India gets better and better as you go on. But the positioning in that fight, I'm not sure. Did he have how many Kanyas did he have? Did he have many Kanyas? But the trees there were just such a pain. Like they were not allowing him to get his like units where he wanted them to be. If he did have I can't remember how many Kanyas there were, but obviously the trees were completely stopping him from getting them anywhere near the skirmishes.
Oh, 3 more modes. This is a scary looking Indian army, honestly.
Yeah, there are a lot of musket riders though. They can just focus these down pretty, and they're so far forward. Is that where they need to be? I mean, the skirmish is now coming in, though he's still doing a pretty decent amount of damage with them.
Yeah, I mean, area of effect units are area of effect units. They just do a lot of damage in general. The Forest Brawler's much more adequately positioned this time around, but still the Gurkhas in their Mansavar upgrade are doing a pretty good job of cutting through the Musket Riders. We do see the cabs swinging in from the top side here as well.
Yeah.
Ooh, wow, another huge stomp! Such a huge advantage for the India player in these fights, getting these big stomps, big money stomps.
The cavalry just going down to these disciplined Zambaraks as well, and I mean Garja did have a lot of his musket riders on the front in complete range of the disciplined Gurkha, which have a ×2 multiplier there. These trees are just being a pain.
They're just really messing with him, and I think he's to the point now where he's lost. There are so many Gurkhas here. Does he have what does he have in terms of upgrades?
He resigns. He says choke point. He just did not like these trees here. That in between this native settlement. Wow, I just think in that last fight there, he had such a nice army, but the cavalry taking shots from the Zambaraks going down. Of course, Zambaraks very efficient, times 3.5. Dragoon-style units, of course, very good against cavalry, take them out. And of course, the musket riders are weak to the skirmisher-style units, such as the disciplined Gurkha, and they were sort of on the front taking damage, and that's not really where they wanted to be, but, you know, they had to be there to kill off the Malhouts. And
that choke point was just, at the end of the day, so good for India.
Yeah, that really messed with him.
I don't know if you saw the stomp that the elephant got off. This elephant here, can I still flare after the game's over? No. The one that's essentially dead in the middle of all the musket riders.
The hero elephant.
He revived in the middle of the fight because he got to the point where he had enough hit points to revive. And his first attack before he immediately went down was a stomp in the middle of Garja's entire army. And it essentially just like stuns for like half a second or a second. Every single unit the Garja has resets all of their animations, completely stopped them. It was...
The amount of damage that would have stopped. I mean, if you're halfway through an attack animation and then suddenly, reset. Actually, all of that damage that's not coming out. What a hero. Get this guy a medal.
That was pretty cool to see, but that's game. That's game, set, match.
That is indeed.
That's 4-1 in favor of MusketJr. Playing some civs that I don't normally see him play a lot of, and doing quite successfully on them. So
yeah, practicing. I mean, I've seen him streaming a lot recently, and of course, playing Tad mostly. He is, a very good player. Always has been. Starting to get good. Well, he always was good with the Indian. I did see him on Tad quite a lot, and he certainly always was good with the native civilizations, with such as India and the natives. Anyway, but getting even better and showing that here in this Smackdown.
Yeah, that was awesome.
4 games to 1.